We have District Attorney Julia Slater with us today, and right off the bat we have a phone call. We have Tammy. What is your question for the DA today?
Yes, I have a problem with the district attorney and my lawyer that I hired. They're trying to cover up the activity. I was arrested by an officer. They're trying to cover up the activity that he done to me. And I want to know what I can do about it because I'm having trouble trying to fight my case because I was wrongfully charged.
If someone thinks they're wrongfully charged, is that something they should
That is
bring
absolutely
to you,
what defense attorneys are for, is if someone feels like they've been wrongly charged with something. She indicated that whoever's been charged has an attorney, and that the court, that's what the courts are all about, is taking the information from both sides of the case. I'm obviously a prosecutor. My job is to represent the rights of the state and the rights of the victim in prosecuting criminals, but there are defense attorneys who defend the people that have been accused of crimes so that their rights are protected in court, and that's what that's for. If someone doesn't feel like their attorney is doing what they should, they certainly could contact my office, but there are some dangers in that.
I was going to say, what are the do's and don'ts and the reasons why they should not go directly to you?
The danger in coming to my office is because anything that someone says to people in my office, we can use against you in court. And we wouldn't want somebody to, especially if they're calling, you know, if a mother calls about her son's representation, then it gets us in a position where we could use that information in court against the son if she says something that makes it seem like it's more likely that he's guilty of the crime. The better route is to call the state bar in Atlanta and call the state bar of Georgia, and that's who governs attorneys, and let them know that you're disappointed with the representation that you've received or that your son has received. And that's a much better route than coming through us for grievances like that.
Okay, so it is going back to the attorney route. We wanted to look at seizure and forfeiture of vehicles as it comes to deals with teenagers again. Tell us more about that.
Okay, well, there are two main crimes where people can have their vehicles seized, and we'll talk in a minute about how other things can be seized as well. But seizure is where we have a mechanism within the law where if someone's accused of a crime, we can actually take their stuff, and a forfeiture is where we get to keep their stuff. And one of the problems that I think young people don't always appreciate is the fact that you are not only responsible for your own decisions, but if you let young people in your car with you, you are sometimes responsible for their decisions too. The old you are the company you keep. That's true. And if you have someone in your car, and suppose it's your mother's car, and you've got someone in that car who has drugs, and you get pulled over for a traffic violation and they stash those drugs somewhere, that car is subject to seizure if drugs are found in that car. And so I'm sure your mom is not going to be real happy if her car gets taken on the side of the road for a drug. And also burglary. If someone brings stolen items into your car that have been taken in a burglary, that's another way that we can seize it. And in addition to vehicles being seized, if we get a search warrant and go into someone's house to look for drugs, we can seize the items that are found near the drugs, any items that we can prove were purchased with drug proceeds, and that's how we get. In fact, last year, my office was able to obtain over $530,000 worth of stuff that the law enforcement seized. We were able to keep for the law enforcement, not for us, but for law enforcement, over $530,000 worth of stuff.
And that becomes some of the property that you can then sell and
that's right.
Have a sale for.
Right. Some of it's cash, and so we can use the cash for certain things, and some of it is items that we can sell or use. If a vehicle is seized and we go through the forfeiture procedure and gain the vehicle, we can drive the vehicle.
That's the next question. Once you have seized it, what must take place for you to be able to keep it?
Well, there are a lot of deadlines that apply to the papers that we have to file and people having a chance to be heard. I mean, if they miss those deadlines, though, then we get it without much of a fight. But otherwise, they have certainly a chance to present. But there are some defenses to it. But what young people have to really realize is that this is a reality, and we can take people's cars and take people's
Do you
belongings.
find it's mostly young people who are doing things that put them in that predicament?
I think that
a large number of young people?
I think it's young people that are the ones that are less aware of it. We do seize a lot of items from grown people and plenty of adults, but I think most of the adults that get themselves into that know what what kind of risks they're taking. The young people are the ones that don't always understand the risk before
And
they
I
let
think,
somebody
too,
ride in
yeah,
their car.
A lot of times that as parents we have rescued them and they think, well, if I do get in trouble, I will be rescued, but
No.
This time it went too
That's
far.
Especially after the age of 17.
And there are some minimum sentencing
yes,
guidelines
absolutely.
too. What are some of those?
Well, we have in Georgia, there are what we call the 7 deadlies, crimes that you must get at least 10 years in prison, no probation, and no opportunity for parole. And murder, armed robbery, aggravated child molestation, aggravated sodomy. I'm trying to think through all of them now.
So that's at least 4 of them. Oh my goodness.
And those are some of those very severe crimes. But those are crimes that not even a judge has the right to sentence you to any less than 10 years, and you can't possibly get out before you've served every day of it. Very serious offenses.
What do you find that is happening in general as far as children, or I won't call them children, young adults who are breaking the law now? I know at one point there was a wave of theft in stores. Then at one point they were speeding down the highway. Is there something that's
I'm afraid that some of the burglaries that we're having in town are the result of young people that are getting into a little more mischief because they don't realize that burglaries typically carry a prison sentence. And another way to get things seized. Items that have been taken in a burglary can get vehicles seized and other things. And I think that if I were to speculate on what is the rising crime for young people, that's what it would be. We also, of course, have a lot of young people that want to get out and drink, want to try to use a fake ID, want to try to purchase alcohol, have alcohol in their cars, and that's another good way to lose your license, by the way. Any of those crimes, even a criminal attempt to purchase alcohol with a fake ID, you'll lose your license.
Thank you so much for being with us. I am so glad you could join us today.
Thank you so much
and
for inviting me. I will.
Come back. District Attorney Julia Slater with us today. We will be back with some classical music after the break on the D. Armstrong Show.